Hey guys. Hi, Princess. Hey, Marilyn. 360. Audrey. Okay. How's everybody doing? I know I haven't had a live chat in a little while, so it's overdue, right? Hey, Robin. Yes, we're going to talk about it. Hey, Tracy. Teresa. Morel. Diane. Good. That's always a good thing, Aubrey, right? Narc free. So I want to talk about the purpose in the narcissist. All right, so try to bear with me here and follow my lead here. Be like, what you talking about, Lakia? Because a lot of times, we only see the dark side of things. And honestly, guys, there are some light sides to the purpose of the narcissist. All right. But since, I like to always end on a positive note, we're going to talk about, I'm going to mention the dark side. So I compiled two lists here. One list of the dark side purposes of a narcissist and then the light side. All right. And this is really good because, if we only focus on a negative, that's very defeating to our spirits, right? And that makes us stay victimized. So if we're able to at least see the light side of things, it gives us hope that, this wasn't in vain. There's a greater purpose for this whole experience. And that's what I want you guys to begin to look at. All right. So let's talk about the dark side. The dark side purposes of the narcissist. And of course, this is not mutually exclusive, meaning, of course, the list can go on. And every situation, can add a thing or two. All right. But number one on here is to distract you. All right. A dark side purpose of the narcissist is definitely to distract you. Distract you from your purpose, basically. The next thing I have on my list is to dim your life. A lot of you can realize or recognize, at least in hindsight, of course, when the narcissist came into your life, it did get dimmed on a certain level. Even though they may have been love bombing you eventually, but inevitably it overall dimmed your life. All right, with their toxic, behaviors and the abuse that you experienced. The next thing on here is to steal your life source because they are energy vampires. So that's definitely going to be a dark side purpose of the narcissist, to rob you of your destiny. That kind of goes along with distracting you, right? Because as long as they have you distracted and caught up in their chaos, you're not really focused on your purpose, right? So they're robbing you of your destiny, or at least they're pausing you from it, okay? So maybe rob could be an extreme situation of narcissistic abuse. They're minimally pausing you from it, The next thing on here is to break your spirit. To break your spirit. The toxic attachments that we make to narcissists with the trauma bonds and the soul ties. This is spiritual. These are spiritual things. They're happening through our physical interactions, but it ends up being something actually very spiritual. So at the end of the relationship, you're feeling broken when you have to break those toxic bonds with them, okay? So yes, a dark side purpose of the narcissist is to break your spirit. The next thing on here is to defile your energy, okay? Defile your energy. Now, this is just talking about your aura. And I do recommend that survivors cleanse themselves after this relationship. And I am going to get into that a little more. I haven't really made a specific video. I did make one talking about healthy lifestyles after narcissistic abuse, but I didn't really get into perhaps cleansing your energy. And I do want to share that information with you guys, because everything helps and you can take, what you want to take out of it to help you on your journey, but to defile your energy, because what we have is their dark energy mixing with your light energy. And I've made, this example before, but if you mix white and black together, you're getting gray. So it's defiled, at that point, and you do have to cleanse it. All right, so that's definitely a dark side purpose, to defile your energy. The next thing I have on here is to snatch your soul. The narcissist will want nothing more than for you to just surrender to them forever, to give up, right? So ultimately, that's what they want to do. They want to snatch your soul, and they want you to be at their beck and call, and, to remain sick, basically, with them forever. That's their ultimate goal. All right. And the last thing on my list is just to overall weaken you. Just overall weaken you. I mean, we can all admit that we're exhausted at the end. Before it even gets to the end, we're feeling exhausted, but definitely at the end, we're drained. And that kind of like connects to them being an energy vampire. And then we have to recuperate. Like, we have to literally physically get rest after that. It's just physically draining, because when we're emotionally drained, it does pull on our physical energy, okay? Let me look at some of these comments before I get into the light side here. Hey, KD. Hey, Linda and Tony from Miami, Florida. Butterflying L. Mona. Goddess of Love. Karen. Marilyn says, interesting to observe them rather than get involved with them. Fun sidestepping them. Yeah. I had something in my memo pad. Let me just, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was going to kick me off like this. I hopped into my memo pad and it kicked me off of the live chat. So, hey, Jador Dior, it's my favorite perfume. Yeah, they'll try to break you around the holidays, and we're going to talk about that, because I have a lot of survivors hitting me up on that note, okay? So yes, that was the dark side here, and let's get into the light side over here. And I love you too. How do I pronounce that? Nahiki? Is that like Japanese or something? I know I just messed it up. Aw, love it, from Trinidad. So the light side purposes, all right? The light side purposes of the narcissist coming into your life. Light side purposes of the narcissist coming into your life, okay? To propel you into your next level. Yeah. Narcissistic abuse can actually be a catalyst in your life to propel you to the next level. If, you're brave enough to, stand up and stand back into your strength, reclaim your power from the situation, it can definitely propel you to the next level, because it can strengthen your core and make you stronger than ever. I'm stronger than I've ever been, after narcissistic abuse. We all know we can get through something like that. You feel almost like Superman and Superwoman at that point. All right. Another light side purpose of the narcissist is to expose your weaknesses in your shadow work. That's actually what I would consider a light side purpose. All right. Let me decline this. Ugh. All right. Because that's what they do. They play on what they would perceive to be your weaknesses, and then they actually do play on your literal weaknesses, all right? So when they're exploiting you in this way, it gives you an opportunity, of course, to be able to, see that and correct that within yourself moving forward, right? All right. All right. To teach you to be more independent. That's another possible light side purpose of the narcissist coming into your life, to teach you to be more independent. All right, because a lot of times we have codependency going on. All right, with the narcissist being codependent and actually the survivor as well. All right. So yeah, you're definitely going to become more independent after that narcissist. Expose your childhood wounds, because a lot of times we are replaying that in our adult relationships. So that's another light side. And it's good. The exposure is good because it presents an opportunity to mend it, you know, to reconcile it, to heal it. Okay? It helps you to reconnect with yourself as well, because a lot of us may be able to admit that, you know, maybe we met the narcissist at a time when we were a little disconnected from ourselves. So that relationship presents an opportunity for you to really reconnect, all right? And actually brighten your light. Brighten your light. You know, we'll feel like our light got dimmed initially, you know, when we're healing from that abuse. But once we do the work, our light is even brighter, actually. So I want you guys to see that as well. All right. Let me look at some of these comments here. Oh, yeah, it's been a minute. The holidays are very, very busy for me. Not only just business wise, because the narcissists, they do like to pop up around the holidays, but also with my personal life as well. So, because my house is always like the designated hangout. So I'm hosting a lot and doing a lot of things, and then just my regular life and taking care of my kids. So it's very, very busy. Aw, I'm glad you could make it, Karen Hatch. I have a whole playlist titled Live Chat, and this video will be going under that as well. And YouTube does, you know, record it and upload the video once the live chat is complete. But now I'm seeing where people can jump into the live chat and start it over before it's even recorded. Yeah. Good, good, Jador. Stay strong. Hey, Narc Alert. Jeff Hardy says, thank you for everything. I've been married to a woman for 15 years and just finding out she's a narcissist. Yeah. Whew, that's a lot. Nigerian. Okay. Okay. Tracy says, after this, you can survive anything. Yeah, you definitely, I know I feel that way. Teresa says, that's a good light side because a lot of times we don't like to acknowledge our weaknesses. Right, right. But there's, you know, there's definitely a reward waiting for you if you're able to, you know, look in the mirror and be honest with yourself about things. Mm-hmm. Definitely 360. Once you actually really heal, that broken side of you won't, you know, even find that type of relationship attractive on any type of level. It just won't work anymore. And then your vibrations will not match on such a level to where it won't even be able to penetrate your life. It doesn't mean you'll never meet a narcissist again. But like I said, they won't be able to penetrate your life in a certain way. You won't be attaching yourself to them. Mr. Hillard says, hello there, my first time catching you live. Well, hello to you too, and welcome to the live chat. Jill says, hi, thank you for your videos are so helpful. Still trying to leave the narc. Yeah. It's a process. Walter says, great words of wisdom. Keep up the great work you're doing. A lot of people healing from your work. Thank you. You're very welcome, Walter Grubbs. Candace Wilson says, I just want to admit that I was a beautiful woman before the narcissist got a hold of me. I look in the mirror and don't recognize myself. I was so physically tired and drained, my health deteriorated. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And that's, you're feeling the dark side of things. And I don't know how long, you've been out of the relationship, Candace, but, there's definitely some opportunities for you to, reconnect with yourself and work on your core to rest and regain your strength. You're not going to always feel that way. Perhaps you're early on. Yeah, God bless you, Candace. Yeah. Yeah. The beginning stages of the healing process, I have to admit it to you guys, it will feel like it's getting worse before it's getting better because, you're stepping into truth now. A lot of illusions that are denials that you may have had while you were with the narcissist, you're starting to shed that. And that can be painful because the truth of the matter is, how they were lying and manipulating and playing those games the whole time. So, you know, that hurts us emotionally, which then hurts us physically. So it's just draining you that much more when you've already experienced a lot. Candace says, scariest thing I've ever been through in my life, someone that I loved actually wanted to destroy me. Is shocking. Yeah. A lot of people have a hard time wrapping their minds around that, but it's absolutely a fact. And it's happened to millions of people. So don't feel isolated in that. And it's kind of like a purge, if you will, that you're going to have to go through at this point in the healing process. But like I said, time helps because it is a process. It's not going to be an overnight thing. And especially, if you had a lengthy relationship. Eddie McNeil says, work with a narc, and after watching the narc videos and learning about them, I can't stand the sight of him. Holiday party coming, have no desire to go, but I feel that I'm giving him too much power. Yeah, I think, learning that art of detachment is really good, Eddie, because you work for the company just like the narc does. So you have to separate the holiday party from him, just like it would be good to separate your job from the narcissist. You see what I'm saying? I've coached a lot of people who struggled with that, being able to go into work and still have a positive day if they're working with a narcissist or working around multiple narcissists, or if their supervisor, I don't know the level of how you're dealing with that narc. I know it gets trickier when that narcissist has some authority over you at work, as opposed to if you're level to level or coworkers, basically. I know that it can change the dynamics of things, and they'll use any little bit of authority or power that they have to try to make you miserable. And then at that point, you have some decisions to make based off of a lot of variables, you know. But the law of detachment is a beautiful law. And if you learn how to do that in life, you're going to be amazing because it kind of bulletproofs your energy, meaning, if this person wants to project or wants to draw you into their dark negativity, you're choosing not to do that because you're detached from their behaviors, their issues, what their thoughts, that they're trying to push onto you. So learning how to actually be detached is people, places, and things that don't serve you is a beautiful way to learn how to be in this life, okay? And that goes beyond like narcissistic abuse, like learning how to do that. It's just that a lot of times survivors are so empathic and we just absorb things and we don't know how to separate ourselves from our environments and the things that we're experiencing. And then a lot of things, we take things a lot of times we take things personally as well, you know, when people have their own issues that have nothing to do with us. Someone can come to work and act really crappy and, they're going through some things, or they could be mentally ill. That has nothing to do with you. They're projecting it onto you, but it has nothing to do with you. So just also knowing how to not take things personally, other people's behaviors. So separate him. You have to detach him from the holiday party. I'm sure there's probably other people there that you socialize with or you're cordial with, and you can have a good time in spite of the narc being there, because that is giving them too much power, Eddie. Ohio Girl says it's scary that his family will go through thick and thin to protect him, his image, even when it's obvious his choices are awful. He married 3 months after being together 7 years. Okay. What you guys have to realize about the narcissist family is chances are the apples don't fall that far from the tree, meaning that narcissist is probably not the only narcissist in their family because someone created that narcissist, So chances are there are others in the family, and, birds of a feather flock together, and they will protect his image at that point. Um, mhm. And yeah, that's so narky to be married to someone else and then wait, he married 3 months after you guys were together for 7 years. Yeah, he was seeing that other person. And even if he wasn't seeing that person that long, a lot of times they marry quickly after your relationship because they had a narc injury. They felt so rejected. Even if they're the ones who initiated it, you finished it by obliging it, by, ending the relationship as well. So, in order for them to, and this is in their sick mind, in order for them to not feel like the rejected one, in order for them to try to portray to society that they're normal, they will jump and marry that next supply. They want to hurt you. So they're hoping that it's like two birds with one stone. They're hurting you emotionally because it's like, wait a minute, how are you marrying someone? And of course, you're thinking of a traditional way, like love is marriage. And no, it's a buffer for them so that they don't feel so don't, even if they're the ones who, initiated the end of that relationship. It's like, hey, I got this person to marry me. I must not be too shabby. I'm normal. This is what they're projecting to other people and why they jump into the other relationships. Okay. So you could see through that, Ohio Girl, that he's actually hurt. When they do that drastic stuff, they're hurting. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Nahiki. Teresa says, sometimes I have dreams of sexual encounters and I don't understand why. Yeah, I made a video, an introductory video, if you will, about dreams for the channel, Teresa. I don't know if you checked that one out, but I do recommend keeping a dream journal, especially in the healing process, because they actually give us a lot of insight into our subconscious. And just through me using a dream dictionary throughout the years, and I use dreammoods.com. A lot of times sexual encounters don't have sexual meanings. So when we look them up in the dream dictionary. So, I recommend you perhaps check out a dream dictionary, dreammoods.com, I recommend, and see if that can give you some insight to what it could have meant in your dream. It doesn't always mean that you want to have sex with that narcissist. And that's what most people take dreams literally, and oftentimes is very symbolic. So the slightest details that you can remember from your dream, like colors, for instance, they can really help help you get to the bottom of defining it. Okay, Teresa? I'm doing fine, Charles. All right. Crystal says, is there no possible way to help the narc see the light of who they really are and for them to get help? I've seen glimpses of her knowing that there's something wrong or different within her soul. Yeah, Crystal, um, I would say that most narcissists do actually know that there's something different and wrong with them for the most part. You know, their level of consciousness and awareness will vary. You know, when you get deeper into learning about narcissistic abuse, they do kind of put them in little categories, and they'll say like a low range narcissist, a mid range narcissist, and a high range one or upper range ones. And with each level, their awareness is more keen, if you will, in understanding their differences and but they all understand it's something because they're all creating the false masks. You know, none of them are just being who they truly are. They're trying to hide it from people so that, you know, indicates it. But as far as your question, is there a possible way to help the narcissist see the light? That is a very the slimmest of possibility that I wouldn't even want to spread hope about it. The narcissist has to want to see that. You know, the way that I feel after so many years of studying and observing and through my own experiences is like something that only God could do. You know, that's the way I feel about it. The narcissist has to be willing to have a mirror held to their face and to drop that false mask, not just to vomit their negative emotions out, if you will, but to actually do shadow work. And it's just not how they're set up. And actually, narcissists do have, if you will, a brain injury. They do. The front cortex that deals with empathy is different from people that are non-narcissistic. They say they don't have as much gray matter there, which makes them very handicapped in being able to have that empathy. So they actually, their brains function is dysfunctioning, if you will. So it's a it's very that would be very difficult, very difficult. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet. I've seen higher narcissists with a lot more awareness, and they're more sneakier and trying to be covert about things, perhaps, or getting their way. But I have yet to meet a narcissist turn around. I just haven't seen that. Haven't seen it. Hey, Barbara. Crystal says it's like she's giving me hints of who she is and wants to figure it out, but also just wants confirmation that she has power over me when she sees that I'm torn up about it. Sounds like she likes to play the victim. You know, some of them are just professional victims. Woe is me. So, yeah, it sounds like she likes toying with your emotions as well, Crystal. So, if she's giving you crumbs, you know, to pull you in emotionally, that's what it sounds like she's doing right now, Crystal. So be careful of that. Eddie says, I was in a relationship with a narcissist. Okay. Well, I'm glad that's past tense, right? Marilyn Bradley says, bright side is that you are now armed with the tools to help others, and which in turn further helps you. Yes. Each one teach one. And, you know, I have my channel, but all of you, you know, have gained a lot of information as well, just even through your own experiences. So, you know, start teaching your nieces and nephews, your children, you know, start increasing that emotional maturity of the young folk around you and even your friends that are your age, they may not even be aware. Ohio Girl says, hopefully there's a brighter side to co-parenting someday. With a narcissist, the brighter side can be whatever you can take control of, such as your perceptions, how you interact with this narcissist, your expectations of the situation. Those things can make it brighter for you, okay? Because they're not going to be like a normal situation. They just aren't. Candace Wilson says, I didn't know these people existed. By the time I learned of narcissistic abuse, it was too late for me. I just can't believe how devastating it was to me physically, mentally, and emotionally. But it's not too late, Candace, because you're out of it. You know, you're just in recovery right now. So it's not too late. All right. Eddie says, thank you for your response. That was helpful, Lakia. You're welcome. All right. Yeah, be strong. You be strong too, Mr. Hillard. Selena Burns says, teach you how to love yourself and take care of yourself. Yes, yes. And that, you know, goes along with reconnecting with yourself. Yeah, Jeff Hardy. He says he has his wife on video and recording, and she still denies everything. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. That's typical. I know you're like scratching your head like you're on video, but it's very typical. They do not like to take accountability. And that's also severe gaslighting, Jeff Hardy. That's an example of gaslighting when they're trying to basically rewrite reality. So she's hoping the more that she says that, is you start to question yourself. Well, that's good. Sometimes, you know, we need therapy is a good thing, Jill. Therapy is a good thing. And I'm glad it's helping you. Marilyn says the bond is still there. That's what the dream is about. Possibly, yeah. Hey, Rachel Roca. All right. Karen says, Pastor Narc married to me 8 months, married 9 months later to New Supply, moved behind me. Crazy. I blasted him with so many injuries. He was so messy. Pastor Narc married to you for 8 months and then married 9 months later to a New Supply. So you had a quick marriage? Yeah, they don't respect commitment. You know, commitment to them is definitely not the traditional sense. There is no commitment. And I think I made a video about how the narcissist is not loyal to anybody, including themselves, really. Well, Rachel, yeah, we're going to skip over that one. Teresa says, yes, thank you so much for responding, Lakia. I'm almost a year no contact in January. Yeah. Yeah. So you're really starting to see that light at the end of the tunnel most of the time. Because it do take survivors typically 12 to 18 months, honestly. Tracy says, I struggle with thoughts of him in the New Supply, and I don't know what he is. So what is it about him in the New Supply, Tracy, that you're struggling with? How long have you been no contact? You know, I think really seeing their true value, which there isn't any. You know, once we really accept that about the narcissist and we know that person is getting what we have, you know. Hey, Dancer. Dancer says it's crazy they got to contact us around Christmas. Christmas is full of lights, so they need to stop. Yeah. But, narcissists, they like to rain on parades. I'm serious. They don't want to see you guys moving on with your lives. They just don't. They really don't. And especially if you've had a recent breakup and it's the holidays, they will think they can try to play on your holiday spirits and emotions, and try to reel you in that way. But that's where we step into our logic and not our emotions when dealing with these people. But yeah, they love to ruin birthdays, Christmas, holidays, make an empty promise. A narcissist can come and love bomb you right now and then disappear the day before Christmas Eve. Promise you the world and give you nothing. So, breaking no contact right now. Almost a year. Well, Tracy, a lot of times we are, I don't know, have you fully accepted the person for who they are? That's my question to you, Tracy. Are you still holding on or thinking that he could be better with someone else? And even if he seems to be better with someone else, he wasn't right for you, Tracy. He wasn't the one for you. No matter what he's doing with anyone else, the main thing is he wasn't the one for you. He wasn't respecting you. He wasn't kind to you. He was abusive to you. Did you make that list? And then also, a lot of times we're too focused on them and not enough on ourselves. That happens as well, Tracy. Okay? And of course, everything is a process and we might start out that way, but as time goes on, I also, I like to see survivors turn the focus inward and you get past the phase of the narcissist and the new supply. I know. I understand that. I understand that, but he wasn't a good husband to you, Tracy. And he's not your husband anymore. And honestly, based off of how he treated you, he was never your husband in the spirit. He was on paper. It was on paper. But he didn't really connect with you in the spirit. Not in the way that he was supposed to. Because, a real husband, what? He provides, he protects. Carolina says, we have 2 kids, and how do I no contact him? Yeah. I mean, if he's in the children's life and or if there's a custody order or if you guys have to, I hate using the word co-parent because it's not like this 50-50 thing with a narcissist. It's not a no contact with them at that point. It's a gray rock and it's having good boundaries at that point. It's keeping him on task, meaning when he tries to communicate with you with things that have nothing to do with the children, you have a boundary about that. You know, if he tries to think he could call you at any hours at night, you have a boundary about that. If he wants to, if there's a court order and he's trying to rear from that, you have a boundary about that as well, Carolina. So it's not necessarily a no contact with the narcissist if you have children and they are, actively involved in the children's life, or if there's a custody set up, but you can gray rock them and you can keep them out of your personal life in that way and just only about the kids. But, they're going to be inconsistent. It's typically they're not even pulling at least half of their weight. So just deal with him for what he is and, manage your expectations based off of him being a narcissist like that. Yeah, thank God, my ladies. I'm so happy for you. Walter Grubb says they pop up out of nowhere. Don't say or do anything, but make sure you see them. Right, that's a Hoover. That's passive aggressive Hoover right there. Narcissists are really fragile with their egos. So a lot of times they may not directly contact you because if you turn them down, that's going to cause a narcissistic injury, but they're going to feel rejected, you know. So they might do something passive aggressive like unblock you from social media when they blocked you, and now you see that you can actually message them. So they feel like, okay, I'm gonna unblock them, and if they message me, I got them to come to me in a passive aggressive way. You know, they're very, very passive aggressive if you think about it, just all the way around. That's why they're, wearing those masks to manipulate. That's passive aggressive because I'm not going to show you who I am, but I'm going to manipulate you this way to get my needs met. So, passive aggressive. Candace Wilson says, I know my narcissist is out there destroying other women's lives. I had thoughts of killing him for what he's done to me and to save the others. Yeah. Candace, that's actually normal. I'm serious. If someone soul raped someone and the level of abuse that we're typically talking about when someone's in a relationship with a narcissist, yeah, yeah. Once you, it's a grieving process that you go through, and there's 5 stages to the grieving process. When you step into the anger portion, yeah, your mind can go there. It really can. That's very, very normal, actually, Candace. And I made a 3-part series on anger that I would love for you to check out if you haven't. I might have a playlist called Anger After Narcissistic Abuse, and the first 3 videos on that playlist are actually, dealing with anger part 1, part 2, and part 3. And I do mention these things, but in a nutshell, they've taken so much of our time and energy. It's definitely not worth it, to end up in jail and lose that much more of your life. At this point, it's just processing the disrespect, because that's what, really sets us off when we just think about the shared disrespect. This person that you put a welcome mat out, you invited them to your dinner table and to your bed a lot of times, and it's like a spit in the face, and that's highly, highly offensive once it's said and done. And then it's always more than what meets the eyes. And you're finding out more things that that narcissist did behind your back, and sometimes right in front of your face that you didn't realize at the time. So it's very offensive, especially when they were just taking and you were just giving at the same token. So those feelings, Candace, are very typical, especially once the survivor gets into that anger part of the grieving process. But those are your emotions. And, we're not going to be like the narcissist and run off of our emotions. It's not going to serve you very well. All right. So there's a lot of things to process at that point, but yeah, Carolina, they do. They'll call all the time, especially if you're fresh off the discard and they're realizing, wait a minute, this person is really breaking away from me. Then they really get really squirmish, and then they start acting a fool. They become like a full-blown stalker at that point. You block that number, they call you from another one and another one and another one, creating multiple social media accounts. Like, they get bona fide, the craziness, the mask is drops at that point, and you see how desperate they are to feel accepted and to maintain control over you, because they certainly don't want you back because they miss you. It's not, oh, I miss loving you. They never did. They want you back to get control. Is all it is, their ego. Hernandez says, is it crazy that I think I feel my ex feelings? No, it's not crazy. I think, you can be in tune. The more that we understand or learn about narcissistic abuse, a lot of times they can become quite predictable. You know, they can actually become quite predictable at times. And they all run in the cycle of abuse. Anytime the relationship is going too good, you know that the value is right around the corner. You're walking towards that. Yeah, they'll find a way. And then that's a lot of times when survivors have to try to get restraining orders and whatnot. And, sometimes the courts work with you and sometimes they don't. I think the laws around cyberbullying are not as strong as they need to be right now. And that's interesting because the internet has been around for quite some time, but you go to authorities and you tell them what's going on, and when it's online, they're not taking it as serious. They're not taking it as serious most of the time. And to me, that's crazy because then, when stuff really hit the fan and the person has been notifying them over and over, then everybody wants to, get involved at that point. Yes, Candace, I know because, they've weakened you overall in your energy and your spirit and your soul. So yes, it was definitely the hardest fight in my life as well. But I made it to the other side, and so can you, sweetie. And if you haven't done so, feel free to join the support group that I have on Facebook, Lakia Reflection and Progression Crawford. Definitely, tap into all the resources that you can. I do offer coaching to survivors to help them through the healing process of the toxic relationship, of doing their shadow work, increasing emotional maturity, just with goal setting, all types of things in life. So, this is a time when you definitely want to put into yourself more than you ever have. Okay. Karen Hatch says sometimes you just wish everyone know the truth. It's hard to explain narcissistic behavior. 1 year, no contact, I go cold turkey, then later find out about narcissism. Yeah. So obviously you made the right decision. Yeah. Yeah. In a perfect world, everyone would know the truth, Karen, but the main thing is that you know the truth. You know, you'll lose a lot more energy trying to convince people, especially the people in you guys' circle, and especially the ones on his side of the circle. A lot of times survivors fall into that trap. Crystal Chun says it is best to respond to a Hoover rather than cause a narcissistic. Is it best to respond to a Hoover rather than cause a narcissistic injury by ignoring them? Seems like a lose-lose situation for victims either way. Um, 9 times out of 10, 9.9 times out of 10 is better to ignore them, because if you're pulling away from them, either way it's going to be bad news to the narcissist, and a bigger injury to them for you to actually say it out loud to them again. Okay? So it's better to be silent. And I know that when they're not ready to fade to black, that will trigger them to keep trying other ways to get in touch with you, and that can be become a hassle. But no contact is ultimately the best route, 9.9 out of 10 times. Okay. Shirley says it's best not to respond at all to the narcissist. Right, Crystal? Right. Right, Shirley. And then also understand that the narcissist, he just wants to he or she wants to open up dialogue, basically. So once they get you to say one thing, they want to keep you get you back into a tennis match with them. And then actually, it could be a very nasty, manipulative tactic to hurt you. So once the conversation, once you verbally tell them, "Hey, I never loved you anyway," any hurtful thing that they think would hurt you at the time, now they're going to say that. Or maybe you guys are talking on social media and you turn them down again, and then an hour later he's posting pictures with another woman, or her with another man. So it's a punishment. So either way, it kind of keeps things going. When you're silent, it's a one-way thing. Ohio Girl says, I have the urge to clear my name, message his friends, and tell them the truth about him and let everyone know I'm not the monster. But I know that will make me look even crazier. It's hard having someone tarnish your name. Yeah, but the whole thing is you're trying to clear your name to people who are partial to him, okay? And like I said, birds of a feather flock together. A lot of times they may be some narcissists too, and his flying monkeys. No matter what you say, they're just not going to take your side. So a lot of times survivors need to let go of the need of having acceptance from other people, or needing other people to understand. This goes back to that law of detachment, detaching from him and his people. Like, all of y'all could just go over there and stay there. Yeah, a lot of times we care too much about what people think, and one of the most freeing things in the world is to not care about what other people think. Like, when you get to that level, like, that's an amazing feeling. Okay? So work on that, Ohio Girl. You have nothing to prove to them, and chances are they're toxic just like him. And he's already told them lies, or told them that you would make this attempt. So you'll be feeding into his hand. He's already prepared for you to do that. He knows you're going to want to do that. He's not sure if you'll do it, but he's laid out. He's already gotten into their ears about that. So when you do it, it'll look like you're doing exactly what he said you would. And yeah, that's going to make you look crazy, even if you're making perfect sense. Right. Eddie told you, don't waste your time. I agree. I know, at the same token. Right, right, right. And that's the main thing. Shirley Summers says, my narc put out personal videos and personal info, and I definitely want to burst her out. Yeah. Well, it is cyberbullying, and that would be something for civil court for any of you that have experienced it and want to pursue it. It really depends, but it would be something that would be addressed in civil court. Unless they're making like death threats to you, then it's definitely something that the police would care about at that point primarily. Not to say that you can't make a police report, but they will only go but so far if there isn't any physical threats or death threats, okay? But civil court could address it. And each state probably has its own rules in regards to cyberbullying. Shirley Jones says, I have children with the ex-narc, and he used my children to get to me. He has never been active in their lives, although we lived together. He ran the streets and cheating. I had to go complete no contact with him for my mental state and peace of mind. I had to go complete no contact even though we have children. Yeah, yeah. And that often happens when you have children with a narcissist. Very common, Shirless. Bless always says, I was married to the narc ex-husband now for 30 years. I put up with so much for so long, hoping and thinking that he would change. But now I realize I should have left years ago. This is my regret. Yeah. But we can do better when we know better, blessed always. And the one thing that we can't change is definitely the past. But when you know that you feel like you've given it too much time, why give yourself a further sentence by letting it take your present and your future? You know, because you gave it that much time, now you really need to detach and move forward. You see? And that's all about our perceptions. You know, sometimes our perceptions aren't in the best angle that will actually help us move forward. Okay. Well, let's talk about the holidays real quick, guys, because we didn't really get into it as much. You know, I mean, it's kind of the same, but the narcissists, they come out. They come out in the masses around this time, and you know, it's probably a good time for them to try to hoover, especially if it's your first holiday without them, or if the discard has not been that long ago, or even if you guys have children and you're used to spending these holidays together, even if they find ways to try to sabotage it or you know make it a negative time. But you know, it's good to be present and it's good to detach. You know, once you made up your mind that you're really done with this narcissist and that you're going to maintain your no contact, you can enjoy your holidays without them. And just know that, you know, inviting them back in, you know, is going to backfire one way or another. And, you know, narcissists, they're not coming back to give you everything that they should have given you before, you know, because a lot of times there's that little bit of hope. They're coming back to get you back. They're coming back to get revenge. They're coming back to get the supply that you haven't been giving them for as long as the no contact has been going on. You know, they're coming back to use you again, to manipulate, to play off your emotions again. So don't let them romanticize about things being better. They had plenty of times to show you that it would be better, and they didn't. This time is not going to be different. Yeah, narcissists, they are definitely growing in society, Patricia. They are definitely growing in society. Marilyn says, worst thing you can do is defend yourself. Don't give a damn. Opinions are not truth. Absolutely. Yeah, opinions really aren't truth. And people are always going to have something to say about something. Trust me, everybody has haters somewhere. You know, just like there's a light energy that wants to see you doing well, there's a dark energy that doesn't, you know. But once we increase our emotional maturity, we can take that with thick skin. And after you've experienced narcissistic abuse, you know, hopefully you can learn, you know, what really matters and what doesn't. And people's opinions, please. They do like to make you look crazy. They do, Queen. Candace says, only thing I feel like I won was that when he left, he thought I was so broken and stupid that I would take him back, let him back in after all he did to me. I was broken, but I never let him come back. Right. Good. So you did the final discard. You know, he tried to hoover back, as they always do, because most of the time when they're discarding us, it's not final in their mind. They're just going to do something else and come back when they feel like it in their mind. But once you take control over that, no, you're not going to just come back when you feel like it. And not only that, you know, is not adequate. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Shirley. So, you know, I don't want you to be stuck in the past with the holidays. If last year wasn't so great, or if you have memories with the narcissist last holidays, don't bring that into this year. You know, it's a fresh start. If you recently discarded from the narcissist, everything is a fresh start. Life is full of decisions, and we can make those choices. We can make those choices. And because we had all those had all that abuse and toxic situation, now we really deserve to have peace. For that reason, we really deserve to have peace. But we have to take control over that. We have to be able to own that in our lives and stand in the truth. As long as you keep standing in the truth, that's going to help keep you strong. And then, learn how to replace one habit with another, okay? If you were used to talking to the narcissist a lot or spending a lot of time, replace it with something else. Don't just be idle. And then you're just sitting around rotting somewhere, and, that makes you susceptible. Now you're going to feel lonely. You're going to feel like you have nothing going on. So learn how to fill the voids. I talk about that a lot in the holiday season. For those of you going through a divorce, for those of you going through a breakup, and, maybe you're feeling lonely. Make a list. Make a list of, some goals. Make a list of some things you want to work on with yourself. Make a list of fun things that you can do with your time. Now that you're not sucking it up, being a sacrificial lamb for the narcissist. What can you do with the money that you were spending on a narcissist? Do something nice for yourself. Invest in yourself now. So, you have a lot of life to look forward to. I just want to make sure our perceptions are appropriate around the holidays, because a lot of people are depressed and sad around this time of the year for various reasons. For various reasons. So, Marilyn says, watch out for the flying monkeys. They are coming. Yeah. But like you said, Marilyn, and like I said in my video, opinions are not facts. You have to give someone's thoughts and opinions power over your life. You can rebuke it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to respond to it even. Shoot, people make hate videos about me online. People smear my name all day long, but I just watch it and I laugh. It doesn't make me any difference because I'm strong within myself. I'm strong within myself. So doesn't matter to me what other people say, what they think. Doesn't matter. And that's how we have to become. And, this also comes with knowing that the people that are for you in life are going to be for you, and the people that aren't. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm cool with my small circle and my large family here on the channel. I'm really happy with the way that the channel is growing. It looks like we're going to reach 10K subscribers before 2019 comes in, and that's really exciting for me. The channel is not even a year old, so I really appreciate, all the support and the love, the likes, the shares that all of you guys are doing to help grow the channel and spread the information. I definitely wanted to plug that in. RR says, feeling rejected because of no Hoover in a month. Hate that I miss him. Yeah, but don't feel rejected because there's no Hoover. That's another perception right there that we would want to switch RR. And a lot of people do mention this to me, that they haven't been hoovered by the narcissist. That's a good thing. They're willingly leaving you alone for now. For now. If it's only been a month, RR, chances are there's going to be another hoover. I just don't know when. But my thing is, because you miss him, are you going to be susceptible to breaking the no contact? Perhaps you're not filling the voids right now. And perhaps, because it's early in the process, because if it's only been 1 month, maybe you guys are fresh out of that toxic relationship. But it's a good thing when a narcissist doesn't hoover you, is they don't want to be rejected. And chances are they are busy with another supply, which is also offensive. So when he's not hoovering you, RR, he's love bombing someone else. So keep that in mind. You know, when he does come back around, where was his lips the night before, an hour before? You know, these are things that you want to keep in mind there. He's with somebody else during this time, and that's why he's quiet. He's getting some supply from someone. Okay? But you don't want to be a revolving door that someone can just walk in and out of your life, throw you crumbs, come back, dump you, you know, like, you don't want that. And you don't want to let this person know that that I miss him is just you needing to break those emotional and spiritual ties that you have with him, and step into your logic and know that emotionally it might make you feel something that isn't actually logically true. So you might feel like you're loving and missing this person, but you're just trying to break the trauma bond and the soul ties, you know. And a lot of people confuse missing sex with the narcissist as well. They're two separate things. You know, we have human functions. We're set up, nature sets us up every month to want to crave sex at different times. And I don't want you to confuse that sensation with missing the sex with the narcissist. So a lot of times it will be logic over emotions that help you keep your perspective, so that when you start feeling horny, so to speak, or you start feeling that arousal, you can rationalize what's actually really going on with you at that time, for instance. And, you know, as far as missing the narc, maybe, you know, you're not filling the voids there, RR. Because what are we missing about this toxic person that usually a narcissist doesn't respect you, doesn't love you, isn't making you a priority at all? So you have to really question what you're actually missing from him in your logic. Okay? Good evening, Blackman, Sophia Blackman. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Tracy in Ohio, girl. Yeah. Yeah, it's growing steadily, so I really can't complain about that. Next year, I really am going to revamp the channel a lot. The same good quality, but, you know, as far as my editing and my backgrounds and stuff like that, I'm just going to increase all of that and just take it all to like another level. So I'm excited about making those changes on the channel. But definitely, you know, definitely still keeping it real and giving you guys information. And for those of you on a support group who did respond under my stat where I asked you guys for video suggestions, I did read them, and you know, I'll be working my way down that list and making those videos for you guys if I haven't already addressed it, because sometimes people, I have over 300 videos already, and they may have suggested something that I've already addressed it. So if I haven't addressed it, I'll definitely get to your videos, okay? Oh, you're welcome, Queen. Yep. 100 said, guys, I've said this before. Mines went no contact for 30 years, came back, hadn't changed one bit from 17 to 47. I'm telling you, I tell you guys this all the time. They're not going to change. They're not going to change. We have to step out of that resistance and into acceptance. RR says, I'm trying to be strong. The holidays make it so difficult, right? But if you step into the truth and, you know, make that list of all the offenses and read that list when you think you're missing him. Read that list. Write it all down. Travel with it. And read that list when you feel like you're missing him. Missing the company, he isolated me so much. Well, you can unisolate yourself, RR. He's not your maker. Whatever he was controlling while you guys were in the relationship, you're out of it now, and you're actually free to do whatever you want. and you may be like, I'm not ready to date, and I'm not suggesting that, but getting in the support group and coming on forums like this, finding communities. So there are things that you can do to start socializing again on a level that you feel comfortable. Okay? And spending time with yourself. I mean, I go to the movies alone. I've taken myself to five-star restaurants. I treat myself the way that I expect other people to treat me. I buy myself fresh flowers all the time. I get myself gifts. Nothing's too good for me. Reconnect with yourself, RR. Okay? This is a part of the light side where you get to learn to be more independent. And it's okay to start over because now you can build things on a healthier platform once you do the work anyway. Because right now, you still have a lot of toxicity in you. And I do recommend you get some therapy. I do offer coaching, RR. Yeah. The Law of Detachment, guys. The Law of Detachment. I'm going to have to make a video on it. Yes. Yeah. Yes. And then, what we focus on grows, RR. So if you think of all the negatives, that's what's going to grow in your mind. But if you wake up and focus on the positives, something can cross your mind and it may be something negative about that experience, but you can put a but. Okay, he did this, but that's over with now. This happened, but, and you fill in the gaps and put a positive swing on that, okay? Life is precious, guys. We have to get busy living. We have to get busy living, all right? But I'm going to go ahead and end this live chat, guys. Oh, thank you, L. Porter. But, I always like to check in with you guys every now and then. I hope you guys have a great holiday. Of course, I will be posting more videos before, the year ends, of course. But, live your life. Live your life. Detach from that narcissist. Yeah, they're miserable from within. So they're just bound to be miserable with whoever they're with eventually. You'll see the outward display of it anyway. What's internal will come out. It will. You're welcome, Tracy. Hey, Marcia. I'm trying to understand your comment. When I go no contact, I don't sleep, okay? Or feel like I am living. Okay, I love him. Yeah, because you're still attached. See, you've gone no contact with him physically, but emotionally and psychologically. Marcia, hold on a minute. 5 more minutes. You're still attached to him, sweetie, and that's why you're having a hard time with him. And that's why they say, like, if someone gets your mind, the body will follow. So you could physically go no contact, but as long as you're still like mentally chained like that, you're susceptible. But the no contact can help break that over time. That and doing the proper therapy to correct your perceptions on that relationship so that you have the right perspectives, okay? Because sometimes we get used to the toxicness and, it becomes our norm. And then once that happens, things aren't perceived as bad as they actually are to us. So, and that's the trauma bond factor right there. All right. So I do recommend some coaching for you too, Marcia. Why don't you hit me up for that? All right. Walter Grubb says, enjoying the chat. Have a blessed night, lady. You have a blessed night too, guys. And, you know, I'll be back on here as soon as I can, all right? All right, guys. Take care.